This is Pete Chilcutt, former North Carolina basketball player from 1987 to 1991. The last pick of the first round by the Sacramento Kings. I then played 9 years in the NBA, including winning the NBA championship in 1995 with the Houston Rockets. I've now settled down in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I give local youth basketball lessons, and have recently got my real estate license with Keller Williams. If you're ever in the area and need some hoop instruction, or you're in the market to buy or sell a house, please look me up.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Mic Check. Mic Check. Today's guest is a 9-year NBA veteran. Am I correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. NCAA Final Four standout. Right? Keep going, Pete.
As far as we know, you're getting back to some ancient history.
Okay. And 1995 champion with the Houston Rockets. You guys beat my Knicks.
We beat your Knicks the year before in '94.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on that team, but I was fortunate enough to be on that '95 team, which made that great run. Boy, that was some tough finals, and a great memory for sure.
From UNC to the pros, he brought hustle, smarts, and team first energy. I think I'm right. Right on the spot, right?
You know, I wish I could give you the formula to success, Mike, but that's definitely part of it. You know, no matter what you're going to do in life, if you don't do it hard, you're not going to make it.
Please welcome Pete. Now, this is where, last name is Chilcutt.
That's right.
There you go. How you doing, Pete?
Doing great, Mike. I appreciate you having me on.
I'm glad. Listen, so this pod is based on, right, I'm cool with a lot of NBA players. Over the years, I've acquired those friendships.
Sure.
And a lot of people from the Rockets too. Coutinho Mobley, very cool with Coutinho. Steve Francis, Yao Ming.
You had Mad Max on here yet? Vernon Maxwell?
Oh, he's a little too wild.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So you want to turn up. You want to turn up the volume, get Mad Max on here.
He's a little too crazy for me, not yet, but he's cool too. I mean, we've spoke. He's pretty awesome too. But yeah, not only NBA players, NFL, players, hockey players, you name it. It's been a great year for me, and I cherish it. You guys are cool. Athletes are so cool, man.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, but you realize you probably talked to enough of them that and what I found out too is once you get in, like the guys who are the really good players or the guys who make it to the league, like they're just the regular dudes that got a little special talent. They got some special talent, but at the end of the day, they're the regular dudes.
You know what? You're right, Pete. You're right. You're absolutely right. I can agree. I can agree. What was it like playing for Dean Smith?
Well, you can't really put that into words, Mike. He was, before I even knew about him, I was attracted to Carolina by this other guy that used to play there. I think it's Michael Jordan was his name. Watched him play when I was in ninth and 10th grade in 81 and 82. I had a little black and white TV. And so that's what initially got me attracted there. Of course, I had no idea what I was getting myself into because as great as Michael Jordan was, the legacy at Carolina that carries on is because of Coach Dean Smith and
right.
the kind of coach he is, but more importantly, the kind of person he is and how he kind of helped me become a better player, but also just a better person and a better man. And, I come from a divorced household, Mike. So throughout the years, I had no problem referring to him as the most important and the most special man in my life. And throughout history, there's been no one that's coming close to replacing what he did for me as a coach, but also as a role model and a father figure. And until the day he passed, he was that kind of man. So playing for him, I can talk about the coaching part, and a lot of guys can understand some of his coaching greatness because he was one of the best, I think, as far as everything in the game. He knew so much information out there when he was coaching, but that doesn't really begin to describe him as a person. So unless you really had a relationship with him, you're not really going to understand what I'm talking about. But if you talk to enough people that know him, you're going to find out that everyone's going to agree. Everyone's going to say the same thing at the end of the day. Even the Dukies, even the NC State people, that he was a great coach and a great person.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great. Do you remember the moment, Pete, you got drafted by the Kings?
Oh, I remember it. I sure do.
Yeah, like it was yesterday.
I mean, I'm getting up there, Mike, but I was the hotel I watched it in has been torn down and built over by now. And I was sitting in this little strip hotel with my dad smoking. Well, I wasn't smoking cigars yet because I hadn't been picked, but I was promised by my agents and by all these teams that I was going to be picked here and here and here. And I sat through that first round, Mike, and it wasn't happening. And then the last pick of the first round was Sacramento, and this first pick of the second round was Charlotte. And I had worked out for Charlotte, so I said, well, I felt at least comfortable. I should go to Charlotte.
Right.
I wasn't as high as I wanted to go, but second round's fine. Like getting a chance to play in the league is getting a chance to play in the league. And then out of
Oh,
nowhere,
absolutely. I agree.
yeah, and then out of nowhere came this phone call from Dick Motta, who was the coach of the Kings, and I had
Wow.
never worked out for him, nothing. And they just said, "We didn't think you'd be here available, and we're going to draft you." And I was like, "Let's do it. Let's go." I didn't know. I knew Sacramento was kind of Northern California, but remember back in the day, Mike, TV, the NBA wasn't on TV that much. It was
Right. Right.
the West Coast. Sacramento was on TV like once a year, so I didn't get to see him play. I just knew that it was a league, and I was ecstatic. And to add the chance to also be the prestige to get drafted in the first round.
That's huge.
It's huge. And for a guy like me, from where I came from and how I just kept on getting better, and as you mentioned, Mike, working and working and you can't really put it into perspective for today's kids. Today's kids, when they're in the eighth grade, they know they're going to be in the league. They already know it. They got these goals.
Probably even before, Pete.
Well, I'm telling you, you're right. But when I tell people, I didn't even think about being in the league until like my junior year in college. I mean,
Wow.
I was playing basketball because I love basketball. And the fact that I could play at Carolina was like, I can play basketball at Carolina. This is my dream come true. And then I got a whisper of some stuff after my sophomore year that I could play professional. And I was like, what? I can play money. I can make money doing this. And then we fast forward 2 years later, and there I am, like that last pick of the first round. So that was an amazing night. And I wish I could say it was a lifelong dream, but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when you're scared to dream that big, you don't even think about it. So I didn't even consider it going into college. But it was a dream from probably age 20 on that I could, if I have a chance to do this, I'm going to do it.
Right. 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 Do you still watch basketball now?
I love college basketball, Mike, and I
Okay.
watched, over the years, I watched a whole bunch when I retired because there's a bunch of guys I still knew, and then as we got into the farther along, like I started to know less guys, and now I started to realize like I didn't know anybody, and then all of a sudden they're just playing different kind of ball, and I still watch playoffs a lot, so. I'll tune in for certain teams just to see where they are. There's so much hype out there about some teams sometimes, so I'll watch some of that stuff. I'm a basketball fan for sure.
Let's go. Let's go, Pete.
Yeah, 100%. I don't watch a lot these days until we get to the playoffs, but I watch college all the time. I still train kids around this area for give basketball lessons. So I'm just trying to stay active with the sport that I love. I've never coached, never really had that desire to coach a team, but I do love the sport, and I want to teach the kids who I'm working with what it takes to make it. And it's not your crossover. It's not your jump shot. It's get your butt out there and work.
Right.
I preach to them. What'd you do this morning to work out? No, I had nothing. Well, somebody else is somewhere. It's like, get your butt out there and get to work. Like if they don't have that mindset, even in middle school, like someone's going to pass them up. So I do love the sport, Mike, and I don't watch it as much as I used to, but I like pushing the right principles of the sport still.
Well, Pete, we have to forget about the crossovers, the fadeaways. It's more about the fundamentals, right? That's what a lot of kids forget, right?
Yeah, 100%.
They're into like the Steph Currys shooting from half court, uh, the John Morant's, dunking from like the free throw line, all that, we have to go back to the fundamentals. This is why Jalen Brunson is so good, right? And I know I sound biased because I'm a Knicks fan, but this is why he's great.
Yeah.
Shea Gilgeous Alexander is great.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they're amazing. As a matter of fact, are you watching the finals now? Since
Yeah. Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Honest opinion, Pete. Who's taking it?
Well, I think I started with a strong OKC bias. I was like, I just didn't think they could be beat in a series. I had myself guessing, second guessed myself after the first game, and then OKC tied it up. And then I really, really second guessed myself after that third game. And Indiana, they had it. They actually had it in that fourth game. They couldn't close them out. I think OKC may win the next two. Like it may end up being 4-2. They're so good and deep from what I've seen. In Indiana, I don't know if you saw today. This is that the Halliburton may have a calf strain. So
Wow.
yeah, it's going to be some kind of game time decision, but like obviously, I think you never know when you get to the finals, and they were up in the fourth game, up with 2 games to 1 lead, and they couldn't close them out. So I think that was their shot. So I think from here on out, OKC closed them out.
Oof.
You're like
No,
you're
no,
like
no, 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 no. I listen. For some reason, Indiana is like our kryptonite. We can't get past Indiana. Ever since the Miller days, the Rick Smiths, we just can't for some weird reason, right? But I was actually cheering for Indiana. You
yeah.
know, the West has taken over for years now, right? I would say a good 5, 6 years, probably even more, right? Probably even longer.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was rooting for Indiana. I mean, they still have a chance. You still have 2 more games, so let's see. But what was your welcome to the NBA moment? Was it Shaq?
No, unfortunately, Shaq. I'll give you a little circle on Shaq. He came to visit Carolina when I was playing here. So
Right.
I tell people all the time that there's people that are better than me that never made the league. There's people that are worse than me that made the league. It's all about being in the right place at the right time and the right circumstances, and then still getting lucky. The amount of players that came through Carolina that didn't sign at Carolina would have put me squarely on the bench. We're talking Shaq. We're talking Sean Kemp. You remember the Rain Man?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We're
Oh
talking
man.
we're talking Leitner. We're talking guys who
Christian Leitner?
came to
Wow.
visit me and Rick Fox and King Rice took him out for dinner on his recruiting visit. And like if he comes to Carolina, I mean I'm proud of myself, but like I'm probably not playing in front of Leitner. And I'm not playing in front of Shaq. And I'm not playing in front of the Rain Man. So I got lucky. They didn't come to Carolina, right? So that's fortunate. When I got to the league, it was all of a sudden I tried to explain to some people, and when you get to the league, you got to have a level of confidence just because you are pretty in a pretty elite company.
Oh yeah.
You have to also put it in perspective. When you're in high school, you're the best player on the court. When you're in college, you're one of a lot of really good players. Uh,
Right.
but there's probably on any given night in D1, there's probably 3 or 4 guys that are really good on the court, if not more. But when you get to the league, we're talking these are the MVPs, these are the all stars of their leagues. I mean, across the board, across the board.
McDonald All
I
American.
mean, they're all that, right? Every one of them. And so when you get in the league, like every single night, if you don't bring your the game that you have or the
Your
right,
A game.
you're getting exposed. And I'm trying to think of my first moment. Well, I'll tell you my first moment when I felt like I belonged, and I'll tell you about the first moment when I was like, oh, okay, this is a little tougher than I thought. The first moment, I'll give you the good first. We're playing,
Okay.
we're playing. It was only preseason. That's why it really doesn't matter. But for me, it mattered. We're playing against the Utah Jazz, and I think we're playing somewhere in some Idaho, somewhere in like Idaho, preseason game. And Dick Motta was a coach, and for the first 6 months, Dick Motta got fired after 6 months. For about the first month, Dick Motta loved me. He called me like the next Detlef Shrimp, and
Nice.
I was getting some good playing time. So we're playing in this preseason game, and I got the ball down low. Now I probably scored 12 points in the game, but I probably scored 10 in the fourth quarter. And I had the ball, and I had the guy. I mean, the guy that was guarding me was some guy named Carl Malone. You may have heard of him,
Oof.
the mailman. Now, again, this is where it's preseason, so I'm not saying the mailman was going full
Holy
speed,
cow.
but I was going full speed. That's all that matters. So I hit a turnaround jumper. I hit a turnaround jump hook. And then the one that I wish I had video of, I did a little, and I didn't have the dream shake. I don't know if you remember the famous dream shake from
Yeah, yeah,
Morocco,
yeah.
but I had the chili shake. And so I got in the post and I did a here and I did a here with my fake in my shoulders. And the mailman went for the second one like he was going to strip the ball. And I just turned back around and shot a little floater, and he was out of my sight. Like, he was gone, and the whole bench was going crazy. You know, when you're playing as a rookie, the vets love it. They laugh it up.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And like the score of the game, we lost the game. I think didn't matter. But again, that was that. There was like 3 or 4 possessions where I was doing my business against the mailman. Now, mind you, it was preseason. He probably was playing 50% for all I know, because I did play with the mailman later on in my career. That man's amazing. That's an amazing player.
Six, what, 6'8", 6'9"?
6'9", 260. I saw him walk out of the body fat room at 4.9% body fat.
That is crazy.
We're talking about like a real live Mount Rushmore of a man.
Yeah, that is sick.
And
wow.
Just to put it in perspective, with all those good players we talked about, the great players in the NBA made great and difficult shots look easy. And so him and Olajuwon would continually, you could be all over the shot and miss it by a hair, and it's a swish. Like I'm saying, they just delivered and delivered and delivered. That's what separates those guys. But anyways, that's my positive moment. The negative moment was probably like a week later.
Oh no,
we're playing in the regular season against Houston,
uh-huh.
and they had these guys in the front court. And I wasn't, I didn't know it in 3 or 4 years I'd be part of their team, but it was a guy named Olajuwon with his bruiser foreman named Otis Thorpe.
Woo.
And Coach Dick Motta told me before the game, he goes, these guys are, they're big, they're physical. You're going to have to bring your A game. And by halftime, he dog cussed the entire team, told me I need to grow the F up and toughen up. And I went from like, I'm in the league, and all of a sudden I felt like I'm not even saying there was a specific play, but when you play against somebody that's like you're a man and they're like a teenager, and you just kind of play with them, and they both have, and that Otis Thorpe had that old man strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I've seen highlights.
There's a few.
I mean, I've seen him play too as well, but
no, I'm saying he's a good player, but I'm talking about
it's a big guy.
Otis Thorpe, guys like Buck Williams, Anthony Mason for the Knicks, just they can wake out of bed, and they're strong as just ox. And so I got put in the mixer on everything on the court. I couldn't get a rebound. I couldn't play defense. I couldn't do anything. And Coach Motta, I want to say that's the game probably where he turned on me, because I said he was a fan of mine.
Really?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was my first, like, maybe I'm not ready for this, because it felt like physically I couldn't compete with these guys. Skill wise didn't even matter when you can't compete physically.
But was it okay? But Pete, I'm sorry to cut you off. But was it your strength? Excuse me, or your weight, or what was it? What was the difference?
I would say it was my experience. It was definitely my strength.
Okay.
It was also just, I wasn't tough enough. I can look back now and say, sure, you think you're tough enough because you went through this and this. But again, when you get in the league, you get challenged, not only in games. I got challenged in practice by my own teammates. I mean,
I bet
you got to be strong mentally and physically. And I would say when I came into the league, I was not strong in either one. I thought I was, but you got to get down in the trenches sometimes. And in the league, they're not doubling a lot. I was going to have to handle Otis Thorpe. Now, you think Otis Thorpe wasn't a great scorer down low? Everybody that plays in the league can score down low. Like there's no bad player. Just because he doesn't get 15, 20 shots a game doesn't mean he can't play. And so I struggled physically and mentally, not only, that game, but that's something I had to learn to kind of get better at as I got a little bit better in the league. And
well, I always say this, right? A lot of people think, a lot of street ballers, right? Let me just say that think that they can beat a pro NBA player. You can't. You
Well,
can't. It's impossible. You cannot.
I've seen. Have you seen the tape of Brian Scalabrine? I don't
From
know,
who
Boston.
played for the Boston Celtics?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He challenged some anybody wanted to come play him one on one, and he was just beating everybody, beating them all down. And as he said, which I think it was him. It's a great quote. I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense because you think like LeBron and him are, but like there's some good players out there that may have played some college ball, but the average dude off the street has no clue, has no clue. And that
You're
doesn't
an
mean,
NBA. You're a
yeah,
pro player for a reason. I mean, you went through your trials and tribulations. Like you belong there. So Pete, you belong there.
oh
It's
yeah,
just that
well,
I mean,
it took
you
some
were
time.
up
Yeah,
against.
yeah. I'm
Well,
not,
you was in the '90s era. You know,
no,
what I
it was
mean,
nice.
again, you had the mailman, Otis Thorpe, Buck Williams. Yeah, for sure.
The,
Buck
the,
Williams was
the Portland front line and the Knicks front line were scary. The,
Xavier McDaniels,
the Knicks with Charles Smith and Oakley and
Oakley.
Barkley
Oh
and
my,
Ewing, Anthony Mason. I mean, they were some grown men. Yeah, so I didn't take that and think that I wasn't belonging. I just took that and realized, oh, I need to grow some. Like
right.
I was not mentally ready for those challenges. I thought my game was ready, but I wasn't ready up top. But again, you don't last 9 years, without doing something right. So I did pick up what it took to survive in the league, and I had a great. I mean, who are you kidding? I had a great time. It was a great job out of college. I got to play basketball for 9 years. I get some of the best. I got lucky enough to get that NBA championship. So it all worked out great for me. I wish I could have played longer. I got out of the league with no major injuries. So that's a blessing
That's
right there.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So
You're,
all in
you're, you're,
all,
you're fully intact,
full intact. I got some
which is great.
my
How old are
ankle.
you now, Pete, if you
Yeah,
don't mind me asking?
oh man.
Come on, Pete.
I am 56. 56.
That's young.
Yeah, is it? Is
That's
it?
very young.
Well, what do you say? You're 39?
Yeah. I mean, what, a 17-year difference? Come on.
I tell you what,
No.
that time from when you retire until now, that's the hard part too. When you get out of the league, what are you going to do? And then you got to raise your family and you got to make things right and make it all work. And it's a challenge. You see a lot of guys out there that struggle with that part
Right.
after they retire. But
Right. Right.
it was. I'm not complaining.
Well, also too, Pete, some bad choices, right? Because I know a lot of them that personally too. I know two, not to mention any names, but I just had this brother. I kid you not. This is sad. I don't even want to say. I'm not going to say his name, but I am going to say this, right? Because I need to say it. I feel like I need to, and it's been it's been weighing me down for some reason. So I had this brother on a pod last week. I met him years ago. I was a kid. I mean, I must have been 12, 13 years old. But still, we were still cool. So I came across his page. I said, "Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? You want to jump on?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" So this is what he did, right, Pete? And he said, "Hey, I charge." I said, "Okay, sure, why not? All right, no problem. What do you charge?" He said, "I charge 150, 150 for the pod." Or he said, "No, I would rather you donate 150 to my foundation." I said, "Okay, sure. Give me the Zelle account. Give me the business, the name, the account." And he said, "No, I don't have an account." I said, "Okay, so who am I sending it to?" He said, "To me." I said, "Okay, mind you, Pete, I am going to say this. He plays for the Knicks. So well, he used to play for the Knicks back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I am going to say that, right? And he needs to get checked because he disrespected me in a way. And again, no shade, Pete, at all, right? No disrespect towards him, but it really bothered me because I thought we were cool.
Sure. Yeah.
right? And that kind of, I'm looking at my wife like, is he serious? So, long story short, Pete, he said, it's sell me the 150. I said, okay, sure, why not? I mean, if that's, you're asking for that, no problem. Here you go. Uh, so we scheduled for 8 p.m. It was 9:30, Pete, and I'm like, okay, wow, I'm still waiting. This is crazy. I said, did he really just like scam me? So I text him and I say, hey, buddy, I'm waiting for you. He said, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, cool. The next day, Pete, I kid you not, the next day, he said, hey, I'm going through something, right? My ex-girlfriend took some of my money and they froze my account. I said, okay, all right. What you want me to do? You want me to help you make some phone calls, or I mean, I'm all for it. He said, no, I need you to lend me $8,000. Well, first of all, we don't have that type of bond, right? Type of relationship. So the answer is no to begin with. And secondly, I'm sorry, I just can't help you. And I say that to say this, right? Since we're talking about, since we mentioned how hard it is for players, right? After they leave, the
Yeah.
league, but it's the bad choices, right? And granted, I mean, who am I to say, hey, don't buy yourself a Lamborghini or Ferrari? Is your choice, right? It's your money. You make it bi-weekly, because I know how you guys get paid, right? You guys get paid bi-weekly. Yeah, I know. So is your choice, But then again, don't come bashing me. Don't get upset at me because I can't do you the favor,
Right. Right. Right.
right? It's your choice, buddy. So yeah, man. For you guys out there, man, don't make some bad choices. Am I right, Pete?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
sad.
it is a tough transition because you are on top of the world, and some of these guys, they don't handle the money right. When they're in the league, they get out, they make a couple bad investments, and sometimes it's legit. Maybe there's nothing wrong, but it's just maybe they invested in business that went bad. It happens. But you got to have. I quit. I mean, I retired from the league, and I went right to work. I took a year off and went right back to work. And for 3 or 4 years, I was a stockbroker. I did not enjoy it. And so for the last 16 years before I moved back to Carolina, I was a school teacher. And so
Really?
a school teacher.
What,
So
what grade?
I lived out in California. I did middle school, and then I did it was a homeschool charter school. So if you homeschool your kid, I could work with you individually, but I had like 36 kids on my caseload, and I had anywhere from kindergarten to 12th grade. So
Wow.
I had to know a little bit about everything.
Right,
Uh,
right.
but my point is, like, I love teaching. I love working with kids. I wasn't too good to do that. You gotta support yourself. You gotta find something that keeps you going. That
Absolutely.
that, that job helped me raise my family. I got to spend summer vacations and Christmas vacations and spring break with my kids because we're on the same schedule. So for me, it was a great job. But my point is, you got to find something like that. You can't sit back and I mean, some people can and just live on their investments, but like then you make bad decisions. You got nothing to do but make bad decisions. So I mean, I say,
Right.
what's that saying? Idle hands. You don't want idle hands. You want to be busy. You want to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it goes back to you buying a home in Beverly Hills and you buying a Rancho Cucamonga. You going,
Yeah.
you're doing all these things, and I get it. I mean, you earned it. You bust your butt, but don't get upset when someone else says, "Hey, I can't help you."
No.
Right? I mean, you live the lifestyle. See, this person made over $30 million
Woo,
in his NBA career,
woo.
right? So that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot, right? So, but again, I mean, so
Hey,
I just wanted to, I'm not gonna say no names. I mean, I
is
have
this
some.
yeah? Is this a bad time to ask for a little bit of money? I got I got the chili Foundation. I'm trying to start up. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And I think both of us are not making light of it. I think we want people to make better decisions. I think what you're talking about is also take some responsibility if something,
Absolutely.
and you're not the one that deserves any anger. You're trying to help them out a little bit already. Um, but yeah, people go down the wrong path sometimes. We can get him back, even though he was an old Nick. We'll get him back and get him going straight.
Oh
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully, hope that's the key word. Hopefully, Pete, you played on 7 different NBA teams.
Right. That's right.
Okay, which city felt most like home?
Well, unfortunately, I was out of the South pretty much my whole career. Once I went out to SAC, I bounced around a little bit, but never back in the South. Um, Felt like home. That's an interesting way to put it. Um, I'll tell you, my favorite city was Vancouver, Canada.
Really? Wow.
The
Who would have
city.
thought, Pete?
I know, right? The city was amazing. You ever been to Vancouver?
No, no. I've been to Canada, but not Vancouver.
Yeah,
No.
it's like a different city than any other in Canada because it's right on the coast, and so it's not as cold as you would think you see in the rest of Canada. It's a beautiful city. It's a big city that feels small. There's not major highways going through there, but it's a big city. 2 hours north of Seattle, so you're right. I was like half an hour from the border. So the city was great. It was a big hockey town. It was a big basketball town. I spent probably another reason I liked it. I spent 3 full years there, and I had some great teammates, some terrible teams for sure, but the teammates were good. I had one of my favorite coaches when I was there. So overall,
Who was
Vancouver.
on that team, Pete?
When I got up there, big country.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, Sharif Abdul Rahim.
Oof, amazing player.
Mike Bibby came up there. George Lynch, my teammate from Carolina, played with me a little bit. Um, you had guys like Lawrence Moten from Syracuse coming through there. I mean, and every one of these guys were just great guys. You can't always say that about some of your teammates. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of wins up there, and there were some tough times. But I think I played up there 3 years. When I got Brian Hill, the old Magic coach, came up there and coached us. Um, he loved me. So that was the only time in my career where 82 games was when he was coaching. And that was good for me to get on the court every single time. And I took pride. I'm not saying I was like 30-minute guy, but I was playing probably 15, 20 minutes a game. And
That's good.
every single game, coach called my name. Like that's a good thing.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. You're doing something right.
yeah, I mean, right. So I love Brian Hill. Again, spent 3 years up there. I got to take part in filming of Air Bud 2, that great movie about.
Really?
Oh, you didn't know that I'm a movie star? You didn't know that?
No, Pete. No.
Uh,
Wow. I might have to
I
go
mean,
back.
don't sleep through the first 10 minutes of the movie. You might miss me. That's all I gotta say about that. But yeah, I got to go on the set of the X Files and watch them film, one of their
That's great.
episodes. Meet David Duchovny. I played horse with David Duchovny. Um,
Wow. Who won?
I beat him, but he was better than you think. He was better than you think.
Okay.
So just overall, just it was good. A little bit of a stability there. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the teammates. Just overall good experience up there. The thing I tell people, the worst part about being in Vancouver is that it's in Canada. Like I had to defer a lot of my money because of if I deferred it, I could get out with some of those taxes because their taxes are high.
Right.
I
Right. Right.
think they probably still are, but it was damn near like 50%. They would take of your taxes unless I was able to withhold it until I got back in the States. So
Talking about taxes, like how are the taxes where you're at? Are they lenient or are they okay?
right now, and yeah, they're better. I was in California, come from California, so
Oh,
they're definitely better than that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, I'm not against paying taxes, but we want to make sure we don't if we don't have to pay something, we don't want to pay it.
Absolutely.
Definitely, I'm not in a high tax bracket, so it's all good. It's all good down here.
You're in North or South?
North Carolina,
North. Okay.
right in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, I went to South. I went to South. When was it last year? Yeah, I think I went to Myrtle Beach, I think
Myrtle
it's
Beach?
called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Myrtle Beach
So
is
beautiful.
well, it's beautiful, but it's like I call it like the redneck beach. Redneck beach. Like that's it's a great beach, but there's a lot of rednecks in down there. I love Charleston, South Carolina. That's my favorite city. You ever been to Charleston?
Amazing.
Charleston,
Amazing.
Charleston's amazing.
I
So
love it. I mean, yeah. I
yeah,
love it. I love the Carolinas.
yeah, yeah.
I
I'm not
mean,
a big yeah.
I drove from New York to Florida plenty of times, and we stopped and it was mandatory to stop in the Carolinas because
Yeah.
I love you guys' scenery. Scenery is amazing. I love it.
If you come at the right time of year, it's
Are you inviting me, Pete?
oh anytime.
Listen,
Anytime.
I can go with my wife, the two kids,
Hey,
my dog, Obi.
just bring that 150. And the funny thing is, my daughter just told me that she's 21, so she just told me she's gonna do it. That she wants to live in New York. So
No, Pete.
I
No,
know
no, no,
that
no.
that's her like her dream right now.
Please, 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 no.
Hey, hey, I can't talk in this. She's 21, so she's making her decisions, and she wants to take. She's in the middle of college. She wants to take
No,
off like
Pete.
6 months.
Please, no.
Hey, what's wrong with New York?
New
Come on.
York. Listen, I'm born and raised in New York,
Yeah.
and I can really say, Pete, that it it is not worth it. It is not. I mean, for college, no, no. It's just too fast paced, right?
Yeah, well,
People are always, for
we're
some
old.
reason, they're always upset. Don't know why, right? And honestly, it's gang infested for sure, 1,000%. It's pretty bad out there, to be honest. But it all depends on where, right, she wants to stay, to live. So if she's in the city, she's okay for the most part, right? There's a lot of police out there. It's pretty safe, but it's still pretty. It's a fast paced city. Like,
No, I know. I'm not.
I'd rather stay in the Carolinas, like where I'm at now, Pete, in Jersey.
Yeah,
Like, my best friend is a bear. Like, I'm deep in the woods,
I
Pete.
like that. I like that. Well,
So that's my type of environment now, as a 39-year-old.
yeah, a 39-year-old. So she's 21. So she's got that.
Yeah.
She was considering her other option. So she lived in LA the last 6 months. She loved it. Her other option was to move to Australia. So I'm like,
No.
at least
New York, New York.
closer.
Yeah, no, Pete. New
I
York.
know, right? I know. I know. Hey, your kids turn 21. You wait. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, no. Listen, New York. That's it. That's it. What was who's the top? Well, okay, so you mentioned Hakeem, you mentioned a few big men, right? But who was truly the toughest player you ever had to guard? Now, was it Shaq, Pete? I'm waiting for that.
Well. You know my Shaq story, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
He was the toughest just because I felt physically inadequate. But if you're talking about, I mean, once again, we're splitting hairs. If I'm going to say the mailman or Garden Barkley or Garden Sean Kemp, those guys were easy. I mean, they all could do some work. But as far as just being out on the court and having to check my existence, like why am I out here doing this? Why in the world am I guarding Shaq? Like somebody needed to ask that question. Like, was I literally the best option we had? And that if you're referring to my last year when I was with the Clippers, I guarded him with the Kings in like 91, 90, 92 when he came in the league, and he had like 22 points and 19 rebounds. Pedestrian, just pedestrian.
Holy cow.
Like that was just young Shaq. He wasn't the beast yet. But when I guarded him in 2000, we know that as the prime Shaq years. And
61 points.
well, hey, you
I made you laugh, Pete.
did you know the backstory? The backstory was I was with the Clippers. We shared the Staples Arena with the Lakers. It was
Yeah.
it was his birthday. He wanted like 100 tickets for his family. And the Clippers, since it was our
Jeez.
our home game. He's like, no, you want 100 tickets, you got to buy them. So he comes out of the locker room. He's already pissed. Then we had a guy on our team named Michael Olowokandi. He was like a lottery pick back in the day. And
He's a very great, he's a very good player. I don't know what happened to him, but he was an awesome
yeah,
player.
well, he had a thing that they called Shakitis. So Shakitis was when all of a sudden you had to guard Shaq, all of a sudden you got in two quick fouls. Oh, coach, I got to pull him out. Then we had Keith Boss Kloss, who was 7'4", 190. He was a great shot blocker, but he weighed as much as a pencil. So he was not dressed that game. He had official Shakitis. So then we had Anthony Avent. He's from up in the Northeast. He was a big forward like me, but I'm 6'9", 240 back then. Anthony Avent's about 6'9", 250. And you got Olo Candy who has Shakitis. So I get in the game pretty early. Now I'll give you the highlights. Shaq scores 61.
Yeah. I think if I'm okay, let me see. I'm a Pete fan. I'm a Pete fan. So I think you might have scored. I want to say 10 to 15.
I scored the most. I check the box score, you check the box score. Fact check me. I scored of our front line. Now we had Maurice Taylor. He was a baller.
Oh, amazing player too.
But I consider him more like a 3. But from the big men, I outscored all of them. I had 12. I played fact. I played 19 minutes, Mike.
Wow.
I fouled out in 19 minutes. I went back and at one point was getting a little bit defensive about that. I watched the game tape. He scored probably of his 61. He probably scored 35 on me in those 19 minutes. And I was fouling the crap out of him. I was fouling the crap out of him. He was dunking. The funny one was he dunked it. He missed his layup. He got the rebound and he dunked it right on top of my head. And the ball came down, and I did like a little turn. And in the USA Today the next day, there's a picture of me on the front page with my name on back of my jersey, with the ball hitting me in the head and Shaq hanging on the rim. I wish I had that copy still.
Oh God.
So I tell kids,
You can probably find it on Google and print it.
I know, right? I tell kids all the time, use all your fouls. Hey, I use 6 fouls. I scored 12 points. I don't think I made him work. I think he may have sweated once in a while. He had me going for his pump fakes. He was doing up and unders on me.
Yeah, he's just too big.
That tape is still on YouTube. So if any of your listeners get on there and just Google that, it's pretty dang funny. 2 years ago, the producer for TNT emailed me or messaged me on Instagram and said, "Hey, it's Shaq's birthday. We want to do a little thing from you celebrating his birthday. We're going to show highlights from that game." And I was like, "Let's do it." So I don't know if you've seen if you look on my Instagram page.
I did.
There's a post on that. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Shaq was a good sport. But it's one of those things. People have told me, like, I can't believe you put that on there. I'm like, hey, dude, it is what it is. Like, I'm not trying to hide from it. Like, it was Shaq. It was prime Shaq going against a power forward. So he's done worse. You've seen the Chris Dudley tape where he dunks on Chris Dudley and pushes the crowd.
And threw him the ball and
Shaq was a beast, and he was.
Are you still cool, Pete, with any ball players? With any teammates?
I kind of keep in touch with a bunch of the Carolina guys mainly.
Gotcha. Okay.
The problem with other guys is you separate. You get your family life going on,
right?
And I haven't as much. I have thought about because I still got some family out in Sacramento. When I get back out there, Mike Bibby's the coach at Sac State now.
Yep.
So I'm gonna reach out to him when I get back out there. So not.
And I think he has a podcast too.
Yeah. Mike's got it going on. And I would say in my daily life, not a bunch, but I live right close to Carolina, so there's a bunch of former players that come back through here all the time. So I get to see them all the time.
That's good. That's good. Did you speak to Shaq that day? Briefly. I
don't remember speaking to him. I should have said happy birthday. Maybe he wouldn't have been so angry. I don't remember speaking to him. Remember, his story was that he came to Carolina from Texas on that recruiting visit, and he was he was 7 feet and he was wiry thin. You know how big he is now. He
Yeah.
he just looked like a straight up bull athlete back then. It's kind of cool to see how he progressed into the beast he became. But no, we're not speaking. I haven't spoke to him. I gave him that message on Instagram. I haven't spoke to a lot of guys. You know, once you get out of the league, it's just life goes on. Life goes on. So it's all
Yeah,
good.
I thought it was like a, like a brotherhood or something like that. But you're right. You're absolutely right, because I hear that a lot from,
Well,
a lot of athletes.
I went down to this golf tournament last year. It's called the ACC Legends weekend down in Myrtle Beach, your favorite place. And there's guys down there. There's a bunch of former pros down there. Some guys that played for Clemson, Dale Davis, and I know him from back in the day. Travis Best from Georgia Tech, Charlie Ward from Florida State. Bunch of Carolinas guys come back. George Lynch came back. Derek Phelps. It's a great concept. They're trying to bring back guys from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s that used to play in the ACC and have like a charity golf tournament with them. And so
They should. They
it's
should.
a great concept. So Joe Smith came down there, Walt Williams, the Wizard. I played with the Wizard out in Sacramento a little bit, and you wouldn't believe it when he came down last year to Myrtle Beach. He still had the high socks. He was still wearing the
You
high
kidding?
socks. Yeah.
You kidding? You kidding?
I said, come on, Wizard. You still wearing the high socks.
It's like
So
Glenn Robinson.
yeah. So
Hey, Glenn had the same concept going on.
exactly. There is a brotherhood. Like I don't have to see those guys every year, but yeah,
Yeah,
whenever I get around them, they're all cool. It was a good event because I got to connect with some of those guys. But
that's great. That's
yeah,
great, Pete. That's awesome. This is, see, I had to, this question here, right? This is actually my wife asking you this question, Pete.
okay.
What made that 1995 Rockets team so special?
Well, remember they had won the championship the year before,
Mm-hmm.
so you have that built-in belief that you can do it. You had the best player on the planet at that time playing with Elijah one because remember some guy named Jordan was playing baseball. Thank the Lord. I'm not sure. People ask me all the time, could we have beat him if he was playing? And I hate to say, well, let's address that in a second. So what made that team special was Akeem Olajuwon, Rudy Tomjanovich, who was the ultimate player's coach. X's and O's, they matter, but also get the ball to dream and everyone else spread out. Put athletes around them that can finish, put guys who can shoot. Kenny Smith, I mean, think about the guys we had. Kenny Smith, Sam Cassell, Mario Elie, Robert Ory, Clyde Drexler, myself and Chucky Brown. Just a bunch of guys that were probably, I mean, besides Drexler, most of those guys are role players.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you put them around Olajuwon, and Robert Ory looked like a future all-star. Sam Cassell looked like that guy's going to be the next starting point guard for some like guys that look better when you got a good team with a guy like Olajuwon in the middle. So you had that belief, and during that year our record, we were like the sixth seed. So it wasn't like we were having a blowout season. So once we got through that season as a sixth seed, and a lot of people, it's a distant memory for some of these people today, but nobody really remembers. I started the first two series in the playoffs. So against Utah, against Phoenix, I'm starting against San Antonio in the third round. I started the first two games. Then Rudy T switched the lineup and put Ori at the 4 and Mario at the 3. Went a little smaller, but probably gave the Rockets a little bit more athleticism with Robbie. And Robert Ori was, as you see, a clutch player down the stretch.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
once we beat Houston, remember as a 6 seed, we had to win these games on the road. So we beat Utah in Game 5 in Utah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
We beat Phoenix Game 7 in Phoenix. We got San Antonio. We took care of business a little bit, beat them 4-2. But again, by that time, the league had messed up. They had got us some momentum going and got us some confidence. So that after the Spurs and into the Rockets, into the Magic, it was almost like it was destined to be. If you go back and look at some of those tapes against Orlando, that first game when
Nick Anderson.
I hate to put it all on Nick Anderson, but
Yeah,
those are
but
big.
he
Yeah,
missed.
those are big shots.
Yep.
And obviously we know what happened after that. We don't know what happens if they get game one, but it has to be a combination of, and you'll see it sometimes for stretches of a time where the team just gets on a roll and they just play well, but it ends. But the Rockets got through that stretch at just the right time, especially my year when they won, probably from they were good enough and clutch enough to win those big games on the road. But once we got through the Spurs or middle of the Spurs series, that team just was on that mission, and you had that belief, and you had all the pieces that were playing well. I mean, all the pieces are playing well. So I mean, that's not really an answer because every team's going to have a different reason. But that was our answer from my perspective on how we got to that championship.
Being a role player, did you ever feel underrated?
Um, no. Again, um, if I could go back in my time machine, I would have done some things different. I think most of us would.
Like
uh, I mean, uh, there's time I think I struggled not as much physically as I did mentally. Like
really? Okay.
my mental game was not strong. Like I talked about that as a rookie. I believed in myself, but I also I doubted myself. So, and that's probably a big part of a lot of people's games that you just don't hear about. Having that self confidence in yourself can make you be a better player just by being stronger mentally. If I could go back, I would work on that as much as anything else because there'd be times where think about if this happened in today's game. If I shot two shots and missed in '95, I might stop shooting for a quarter or for a half. Like these days, who does that? Like they just keep on jacking it, right?
Yep.
And you got
Keep
to,
on chucking it.
and you got to. I had a kind of a dilemma in my head because I came into the league as a more of a post up player. Now I could shoot the 15-footer, but that wasn't my game. I mean, I was just like I can pick and pop but I didn't shoot threes. My first year in Sacramento, I shot 1 3. I made it. Great pass by Spud Webb. Thank you, Spud. My second year, I took another three. I thought about retiring at that point because I was 2 for 2, Mike. I had never missed a three in the league. And then somehow Lionel Simmons threw me the ball with the shot clock running down with like 2 seconds left. I missed a three, and so my perfection was over. But I went from that player who was just shooting once in a while. By the time I got to the Rockets, I was like a 3-point threat, right? But that wasn't
Wow.
that wasn't my game 2 years before, and I never really got it in my mind that that was my game. Like I kind of always tried to fight that. Like that's not my game. I do this better. So if I would embrace that role as a shooter, I think I could have been better. I could have probably played longer, and everything would have worked out just differently. But I had a little bit of self-doubt because of how I grew up. That wasn't part of my game. I can shoot outside, but I'm more of just a utility player that can do a whole bunch of things. When all of a sudden I'm out there shooting threes all the time, that felt kind of weird, and I didn't embrace it. So if I could go back and change things, I think I would change that.
Is there a game from your career that you wish, Pete, you could relive?
Like to do something different or just to do it again?
Do something different.
Oh boy.
Good question, right?
Well, I got all kinds of like the good thing about being old, Mike, is forget all the bad stuff. Like all I can think about is the good
I
stuff.
like you, Pete.
I'm just telling you. Like when I'm sitting there talking to my grandkids, I don't tell them stories about when I sucked or did something bad. I'm telling them all the good things. So let me think about something I would change. It's hard to pick an individual moment. It really is. It really is because you fail a lot. I mean, there's games where I was terrible. There's individual shots that were terrible. There's games I played terrible. You can't go back and want to change those things. I think you want to. Okay, my last year. This is just because it was fresh. That's why I remember it. My last year, I'm playing with the Utah Jazz. And just to give you a little backstory, Jerry Sloan was a tough SOB. If you didn't know that, like he was a tough coach. Um, he assigned me, during the summer, but then during training camp, he's like, if you don't play better, I'm going to cut you. Like during training camp, and I'm
Wow.
like, okay, my bad. Like I was out of shape, uh, and I need to get in better shape. By the end of the preseason, like the last preseason game, we played the Lakers. I scored like 14 points. We won the game. He's like, okay, you're safe. You're on the team. I was like, yeah, I'm like a 9-year vet, and I'm like getting nervous around Coach Sloan. Well, I think our first or second game, I think it was the first game, we played the Lakers for real at home, and
Season game.
yeah, regular
Okay,
first
okay, okay,
regular
okay,
game,
okay.
and for some reason, um, we're like 16 seconds left in the game. We're down like one or two. I'm on the court with John Stockton, Karl Malone, Jeff Hornacek, and Brian Russell. Like I'm on the court in crunch time. I run a pick and roll with John Stockton. Now you may think about the famous pick and roll with the mailman. The one that's not so famous is the famous pick and roll with Chili. So, and by the way, that's my family nickname.
That's great. It's a great nickname.
We've been
I
called
love it.
we've been called Chili's back to my great great grandmother in the 1900s. So I run a pick and roll with Stockton. He goes off the pick. He flings it back to me, and I'm like open shot. I go up, Mike. I shoot it. It's right on. It's literally perfect. It's one of the things. It just rims out.
Ah,
Uh, and that was the last shot of the game. But there's a couple more possessions. And then those were the days, the early days of some social media, some press, and I was devastated.
you was a target.
I was easy target. I was just devastated because I missed a shot. Of course it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Um, the next like a week later, we're playing in Denver. Somehow I'm still in the game. I run a pick and roll. I run a pick and roll. John, this is before halftime. Run a pick and roll with John Stockton. He throws it to me, and all I can think about, Mike, is I missed the damn shot against the Lakers. I'm gun shy now. So what do? I
Pass it
pass it.
right back.
I pass it back to John Stockton. He looks at me like, and he goes up some crazy shot, and he just got in my ears like, like I need to shoot that.
Oh, man.
If I could go back, I would change the first shot to make it, and I would change the second time to shoot it, just
To
because
shoot it, yeah, instead of passing
you gotta be. You don't throw it back to John Stockton on the famous Chili Stockton pick and roll. You can't throw it back to him. That messes up the whole play. So that's what I
it. Oh man, Pete. What do you think today's players, right, could learn from your generation? And I think this is a good one.
That's a good question. Um, you might have a perspective on this that may be different than mine, and I'm just looking from a distance. I think today's players, I think they train harder. I think now this is not verified, just my opinion. They train harder. I don't know for sure because I'm not out there. I don't know that they go out on the city like the Chili did back in the day on the road trips. I think they take care of their bodies a little bit better. I think they have better nutrition. They have people on the team that take care of that kind of stuff. So I think the players themselves are probably a little bit better in some senses of the word, like better shooters, maybe better ball handlers. I don't know that that makes them a better team or a better player, but I think individually, a lot of guys have a lot better skill sets than back in the day. I think they take care of their bodies better.
I could agree. I could agree.
I'm not saying that again makes for a better product at the end. What would I change? Have them change as individual players or players in today's game? Ooh, that's a tough question because all I can think about is the style of play that I see, but that's not really the players. That's more that's the style.
The style.
That's what the coaches are doing. Um, do you have any ideas? Like
Uh,
I can't think of anything that would say would need to change because I as I said I think they're probably I would probably say what I miss from my day is your Knicks, the Rockets, the teams that you have identified people on that team for maybe their whole career. Like the Rockets were Elijah Wan, the Knicks were Patrick Ewing, right? You got guys switching teams whenever they get a better paycheck these days.
There you go, Pete. That's the answer.
Maybe that's it. Like I just saw, and I think Kevin Durant is like one of the best players ever. But I heard he's looking to move again. Like when is it enough? Like is he chasing? I don't know what he's chasing. Is he chasing a title? Is he chasing something else? Because he's got enough money, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And a lot of players are bouncing around, and now you're seeing it. You're seeing it in college.